Hi everyone, and welcome to our video on finding a derivative or evaluating a derivative based on values that in this problem is given in a table. So sometimes they might just write it in a paragraph. Here they broke it down into a nice table. All right, anyway, so what we'll do in these problems is we'll just use our formulas that we have for products or quotients, and then afterwards we'll just plug in all of the values based on the table. So in this example, it says let h of x equal f of x times g of x, and let k of x equal f of x over g of x. Let's use the following information to evaluate h prime of 1. Okay, so our real first step in this scenario is to find h prime of x. Okay, so if we have, let's just write h of x to here, right here to the side. So here's our h of x equals f of x g of x. Well, this is a product. So the way that we would write our h prime of x is using the product rule. So when I use the product rule, we usually saw it. So I wrote it like this when we had u and v, and I just copied the uv, and then I made sure to alternate primes. Well, it works the same way right here, so it's something times something. So I'm going to copy those, f of x, g of x, plus f of x, g of x, and then I just make sure to alternate the prime. So let's put the prime on the f, so f prime x, g of x, plus f of x, and then prime on the g of x on the second one. So it just alternates, there we go. And then now that we have this derivative, now we will use the table. So now we will evaluate h prime of 1, which means change all the x's into 1. So f prime of 1, g of 1, plus f of 1, g prime of 1. All right, and then now that's where this table comes in. So I have h prime of 1 is, so f prime of 1. So these are x values, so that means I'm starting here. So this is my x is 1. And then f prime of 1 is right here, so it's the negative 2. So that means f prime of 1. So it's just kind of matching the horizontal with the vertical. So this is x equals 1. So you're saying plug it into that 1 right there. F prime of 1 is negative 2. So that's negative 2. And then let's use g of 1 here in blue. So g of 1, well, again, here's 1. G of 1 would be 4. Okay, so that's right there. And then we do have plus f of 1. Okay, so I'll just keep using different colors. F of 1, well, here's our x equals 1. F of 1, they say, is also this, well, this 4. So it's 4, but it's a different value in the table. Okay, so it's 4 there. And then g prime of 1, I'm going to just kind of highlight. Okay, so g prime of 1, well, here's again, x equals 1. Here's g prime, so it's saying match it up. There it is. It's 3. Okay, so we have, and I'm going to put that back in the black ink. There we go. Okay, and then now it's order of operations. So our h prime of 1 is negative 2 times 4, which is negative 8. 4 times 3 is 12. So h prime of 1 is just 4. That's it. Okay, so that's how we can break down these problems. Okay, so in number 2, it wants k prime of 2. Okay, so we can see k is f of x. So it's the same steps. So step 1, let's find k prime of x, though, first. And let's write our k of x, which is f of x over g of x. Well, again, this is where I usually use my low and high. So the derivative, so let's write it in this next line. So k prime of x, usually I say that that's my high function, and that's my low function, and I see it's a quotient, so I would set it up as low, d high, minus high, d low, over low, low. But in this scenario, it's best to go back to using f's and g's or derivatives of f's and g's. So let's set this up. Let's get our big fraction. So it's low d high minus high d low. Okay, so my low is g of x. Derivative of the high, well, f of x derivative would be f prime of x. And then we have minus just the high, which is just f of x, times the derivative of the low, which we would just write as g prime of x. And then all over the low one getting squared. So we'll write it just like that. Okay, so there's that major step, and then step 2 is to now evaluate it. So k prime of 2, so now we can evaluate it because we can substitute all of those in. So it's g of 2, f prime of 2 minus f of 2, g prime of 2 all over g of 2 squared. All right, and so I'll have to kind of just scroll back and forth with our values that we're going to plug in the table. Okay, and it looks like I'm writing a little too big. Let me put this over here. So k prime of 2 is, okay, so g of 2. So all of our x values are 2. So I'm just focused right here on this part of the table. And then I just want to make sure I'm plugging everything in the right spot. Okay, so let's break this down. So I'm going to scroll back and forth. So g of 2 is this negative 2. Okay, so there we go. So negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and box it like I did the last one. So that negative 2 is what I want. And then f prime of 2. Okay, so here's f prime. There's 2. So that's saying use this 3. So this time around, I'm just going to use my black ink and just make sure I'm focused on the right one. And then minus f of 2. Okay, f of 2, there's f of 2. So 2 and f, there we go. F of 2 is 7 then. So we have minus and then parentheses 7. And then g prime of 2. So here's g prime and then there's where the 2 is. Okay, so negative 6 is what I want to plug in. So I have negative 6 right there. And then g of 2 squared, well, g of 2 is still that negative 2 getting squared down below. So g of 2, and I could double check g of 2, yep, it's that one. It's this one again right there. G of 2 is negative 2, and so we'll put that, and then we'll square it. Okay, and then now it's order of operations, just like the product one. Okay, so this simplifies into negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. We have a minus and a negative, so really plus. 7 times 6 is 42. And then negative 2 squared is positive 4. Remember, a negative squared becomes positive. And then now we just want to simplify. This looks like that would become 36 over 4. And then 36 over 4 is 9. And there we go. So we got it. Okay, so these types of problems are really just making sure we remember how to just set up the original formula eventually. Notice I still use our references for what I thought was easier. Again, if you were following the other videos from before, that's how I would break these problems down. And then afterwards, we just plug in numbers and order of operations. Okay, so that's it. So if you do have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.